Tanse, I'm Krisanachkite. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for watching. Manitoba RCMP have made another arrest in a homicide that happened more than a year ago in a wooded area outside of Opipinipiwin Cree Nation. On May 4th of last year at around 7:50 p.m., South Indian Lake RCMP responded to a report of a deceased male in a wooded area outside the First Nation in northern Manitoba. A deceased 61-year-old male with injuries was found and his death was deemed a homicide. 3 days later, RCMP arrested a 28-year-old Joanne Elizabeth Baker Spence from Opinipiwin Cree Nation and charged her with manslaughter. Then on July 9th of this year, RCMP Major Crimes arrested 25-year-old Jess Baker, who is also from the First Nation, and charged him with manslaughter. The investigation is continuing this week. RCMP and Manitoba are in need of the public's help in finding a man who has been missing for more than 2 weeks. On June 30th at around 5 p.m., Wabodin RCMP received a report about a 40-year-old Travis Pickton. He went missing from a home in Lakeside Drive in Wabodin, a community about 650 kilometers north of Winnipeg. RCMP say Pickton was last seen on June 27th at 9:45 a.m. walking southbound on Highway 6 about 6 kilometers south of Wabodin. Pickton's family says he told them he was heading to Kennesaw Sipi Cree Nation. Pickton is described as 6'3", 210 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. No clothing description was provided. If anyone has seen Travis Pickton, you are asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Edmonton police are also asking the public's help in locating a 14-year-old boy who has been missing since June 1st. 14-year-old Samuel Bird was last seen on June 1st, leaving his home to visit a friend in the Kenora neighborhood in West Edmonton. He was later reported to having been seen leaving his friend's house on foot, but never returned home, and he has not been seen by friends or family since. Edmonton Police Service's Missing Persons Unit has actively followed several reported sightings of Bird, but they have been unable to locate Bird. Samuel Bird is 5'8" with a slim build and has brown hair and brown eyes, and is known to frequent West Edmonton Mall and is familiar with both the west and south side of Edmonton. Police also say he has no phone and no access to money, and the family is concerned for his well-being. If anyone knows where Samuel Bird is, you are asked to contact the Edmonton Police Service or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. According to Quebec's police watchdog, the BEI, a former head of public security in Mashteuch, has been arrested. Mashteuch is a Innu community in Quebec's Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean region. First reported by CTV Montreal, according to the BEI, Matthew Lanier was arrested on March 25th following a month-long investigation. He now faces 1 count of sexual assault and 1 count of breaking and entering. The offense allegedly took place in 2013 in Mashteuch, a community of about 2,100 people, and Pequot-Miel-Notch First Nation, located about 300 kilometers north of Quebec City. In April of 2022, Lanier was appointed the Director of Public Security in April of 2022 after serving in the role on an interim basis. He was suspended from his duty last August. Lanier is a member of Pequot-Miel-Notch and has more than 13 years of experience in law enforcement, including serving in various First Nation communities. Lanier appeared in court in Roberval, Quebec on last Thursday. The coroner's report has been released on how convicted serial killer Robert Pickton died, and a warning: the following details may be disturbing to some viewers. The report says Pickton was critically injured when he was struck in the face by a fellow inmate wielding a broken broom handle. The assault happened on May 19, 2024 at the Port Cartier Maximum Security Prison in Quebec. He died in hospital just 12 days later. According to the report, the assault took place while inmates were receiving medication. Only 1 staff member was present, and they couldn't stop the other inmate from grabbing the broom used to attack Pickton. Pickton was convicted of second-degree murder in the deaths of 6 women between 1995 and 2001. Manitoba's Minister for Accessibility, Nahani Fontaine, released another apology to the deaf community on social media over the weekend. The apology comes after she was caught on a hot mic saying she was distracted on stage by a sign language interpreter at a graduation ceremony 2 weeks ago. Have a listen.
A couple of weeks ago, I used language that caused harm to the deaf and hard of hearing community. That moment doesn't reflect how I feel about deaf and hard of hearing Manitobans, ASL interpreters, or accessibility as a whole. I appreciate ASL is more than just language. It's deeply connected to deaf culture and community. I take full responsibility for my words, full stop. To the deaf and hard of hearing community.
The video was posted to Fontaine's Instagram page on Sunday. It shows her saying she is sorry to the deaf community alongside an ASL interpreter. She also said she will participate in deaf and deaf culture training to better understand the community, and that a deaf or hard of hearing matriarch will be added to her government's Matriarch Circle Advisory Group. Deborah Ozar, a Métis College graduate who was at the ceremony where Fontaine made her previous remarks, says she is happy with Fontaine's new apology, but says it should have been done this way much sooner. Minister Fontaine previously apologized in a written statement and on CBC Radio.
Even in the moments of frustration, I will always be mindful that my words remain inclusive and respectful. I'm human. I made a mistake, but I will do better. And I will keep showing up and continue the work of building a truly inclusive Manitoba for everyone. So again, An
awareness walk for Ashley Morin was recently held in North Battleford. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. 7 years ago, Ashley Morin, a young woman from North Battleford, Saskatchewan, went missing, and her bag was later found at a nearby school. Earlier this week, her family held an awareness walk in her honor, calling on the public once again for any information about her disappearance. APTN video journalist Rachel May was there.
Sister, please come home. We miss you and we love you. Let us know that you're okay. Something.
Ashley Morin has been missing for 2,558 days, last seen in North Battleford, Saskatchewan. Her sister Janine Morin last spoke with her on June 30th, 2018. After that, countless calls went unanswered. Nearly 2 weeks later, on July 10th, Janine reported her missing to police.
Yeah, I reported her missing. One of the hardest things to do. But I told my mom, I said, we can't go any longer without having any source of communication. So
in 2019, 1 year after Ashley's disappearance, Saskatchewan RCMP said they believed she was a victim of a homicide. A $30,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to finding Ashley. Janine says her family won't stop holding walks and speaking out until someone comes forward.
And this is going to keep going until I bring her home, till we bring her home. I'm going to raise awareness every year on the day to make sure that, she is loved and missed.
The families of Happy Charles, missing for 8 years, and Megan Gallagher, murdered 5 years ago, were also in attendance.
It means a lot, we've met these families over 7 years, and to have them come here to support us, as well as we support them through all the court dates that they go to and everything, it just means the world to us.
Local leaders also joined the walk to show support for the Morin family. North Battleford Mayor Kelly Houghton said standing together, building a strong community, and raising awareness is key to making sure no family has to face this kind of loss.
We don't want any more murdered and missing Indigenous people at all. We want this eradicated. This shouldn't be an issue that families have to deal with.
Battleford Mayor Ames Leslie says he's seen the crowds grow year after year.
I just want to acknowledge the family, right? The resiliency and the determination, right? If I ever go missing or one of my kids go missing, God willing they don't, I hope that there's people like this that can rally around me or my family to this extent to make sure that we never get forgotten.
The RCMP Major Crimes Historical Case Unit is investigating Ashley's case. They're urging anyone with information to come forward. Rachel May, APTN National News, North Battleford.
The Main Street project was recently awarded the City of Winnipeg's only mobile outreach contract, one that used to be divided among 3 organizations. Now, some nonprofit leaders are speaking out about the city's decisions, saying the funding isn't enough to meet a growing demand. APTN Sierra Bettens has that story.
From serving meals to connecting people to housing, the West Central Women's Resource Centre's Street Outreach Van has been a lifeline for women and gender-diverse folks in Winnipeg. But the organization is parking it indefinitely this Sunday due to funding shortfalls. It's a loss Executive Director Lori English says will leave a sizable gap for the people they serve, about 70% of whom are Indigenous.
It's not just a loss of those essential services, it's also a loss of the connection to sustained housing.
English says the Resource Centre previously received outreach funding through the province. Then, in April, the province shifted the funding to the City of Winnipeg. In May, English found out that applicants for the city's outreach contract were required to provide 24/7 mobile services.
That's not a position that we were able to take because the funding available through the city was very limited and it wasn't sufficient to have a van on the road 24/7, so that left us without any funding options.
Between 2022 and 2024, the city divided $550,000 in annual outreach funding among 3 organizations. On June 30th, Main Street Project was awarded the city's only $275,000 outreach contract for the second half of 2025. It's a responsibility their executive director, Jamil Mahmood, is honored to take on, but he still believes more boots are needed on the ground.
We wouldn't think you could have one police car or one ambulance for the entire city, so we shouldn't kind of consider outreach that. It is an essential emergency service, so we feel very strongly that there should be multiple outreach organizations. There are. We work very closely with all of them, but there definitely needs to be more funding.
APTN reached out to the province and the City of Winnipeg for comment. A spokesperson from the city said Main Street Project was awarded the contract after receiving the highest evaluation score. A provincial spokesperson said the City of Winnipeg funds outreach services for the joint Your Way Home strategy, and that the province has provided $896,600 in annual funding to the West Central Women's Resource Centre. Beyond the numbers, English says the real cost of service cuts is relationships.
We do a lot of trust building with those folks to get them connected to supports and then eventually to housing. Severing those relationships means that we will have to reestablish them if we're able to secure funding going forward.
Both directors hope to see increased provincial and municipal investments in outreach.
I hope the message out of this whole thing is we need more investment in outreach, and it needs to be kind of a holistic investment in all the needs in our community.
In the meantime, Mahmood says Main Street Project is partnering with Resource Assistance for Youth to broaden their outreach service and will continue to work closely with the organizations across the city. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
We now want to give you the results of last week's web poll questions. Our first question we asked, do you use more than one language at home or in your daily life? 70% of you voted no, while 30% voted yes. Our second question was, do you believe that ensuring clean drinking water for First Nations should take priority over speeding up resource development projects? 79% said yes, while 18% said no, and 3% were unsure. And our final question was, should public inquiries into industrial disasters be mandatory when environmental contamination occurs? A whopping 82% said yes, 9% said no, and 9% were unsure. Thank you to everyone who voted. We will post a new set of questions this week at aptnnews.ca. The owner of Section 35 Clothing is up next to talk about the company's many successes. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Halifax 20, Charlottetown 22. 24 in Cartwright, Le Grand River, rain in 15. Saguenay 28, Quebec City 25. 25 in Peterborough, smoky in North Bay at 22. Smoke in Wawa at 18, Elliott Lake 23 in sun. Puckatawaga 11, The Paw 14. 20 in Winnipeg at sunny there, Gimli 18. 21 in Estevan, Swift Current, rain in 13. 17 in Meadow Lake, Uranium City 13. Showers in High Level at 23, Fort Chipewyan sunny and 16. Showers in Lethbridge at 15, Medicine Hat 17. 25 in Vancouver and sun there, Bella Coola 19 and sun. 25 in Fort Nelson, Dease Lake 21. 22 in Whitehorse, Dawson 25. 26 in Fort Simpson, Yellowknife 20. 20 in Colville Lake, Fort McPherson, partly cloudy and 28. 13 in Chesterfield, rain in Baker Lake at 7. And 6 in Iqaluit, Iqaluit, +4. Our next guest is the owner and founder of Section 35. Justin Jacob Lewis is from the Samson Cree Nation in Treaty 6 territory. He now calls the unceded Stolo territory home in Vancouver. Section 35 was launched in 2016, and Justin says he wanted to use art and fashion to tell his people's stories. In 2022, Justin was a finalist for Menswear Designer of the Year at the Canadian Art and Fashion Awards in Toronto, and his clothing has also been featured in Vogue, Complex, and has showcased at the Metropolitan Museum of New York. We recently spoke to Justin in Vancouver. Here's that interview. Justin Jacob Lewis, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Can you tell us about when you first started Section 35 and why you wanted to create this clothing brand?
Yeah, I think it was back in, I would say 2013. I started playing around with designs, and I actually started creating t-shirts with old hockey logos from my reserve back home and just kind of selling them to family and friends. And people really seemed to like that. And at the time, there wasn't really a lot of clothing brands, native-owned clothing brands. I think the only ones I really knew of were down in the States. And I just felt like there was a need for something like that up here. And it's kind of just something I decided to do and took a chance on. So.
And can you briefly tell us about the idea behind the name Section 35?
Yeah, in my previous life, I used to do a lot of work in consultation. And so I used to sit in these meetings with companies and lawyers and elders. And I kept hearing a lot of the elders talk about Section 35. And it was just something that really resonated with me at the time. And, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to call my clothing brand, that was just kind of what came to mind. And it kind of became, the clothing and the designs was kind of like a voice for me. And so that with, the meaning behind what Section 35 came from really just kind of became what it had to be. And it sounded really cool. And my baseball number was 35. So there was a lot of really cool things around it. So I went with that.
Cool. And fast forward to now, and your clothing has been in many malls across North America, and you've done quite a few partnerships over the years, including with Roots Canada. Did you ever think your business would grow to what it is now?
I didn't, to be honest. I mean, a lot of the things that I'm getting to do now was what I always hoped I would get to do, but it was something that seemed so far away when I started. It's just to have somebody buy your stuff at the start was such a challenge. And, now it's been quite a journey, and it's just definitely exceeded my expectations in every way. So.
You also went a step further and released a luxury line for New York Fashion Week almost 2 years ago now. What was that like for you?
obviously it's a whole different level of work, and it was exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. And to debut it at New York Fashion Week was really cool. It was probably one of the most exciting shows I've ever done. And we went back to the drawing board for almost another 2 years, and it's finally going to officially release this fall. So it's been a bit of a journey, and we're super excited to launch that this fall. So
that's great. And Justin, can you give us any other sneak peeks of what you're working on for the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my seasonal collections for Section 35 coming this fall, and then I've got another project potentially on the books next year with Roots, so it should be something exciting. It'll be our 10-year anniversary, so hopefully there'll be something special for that. And then we're just, I'm also kind of exploring the athletic area, and I've done some stuff with paddling and making some gear for some teams, and so we're looking into that area, expanding, and then even with some golf stuff. So a lot of really fun things I'm, I guess, challenging myself with, and we'll see where it goes.
I also see Section 35 is in the mainstream. You got a couple contestants, Indigenous contestants on Amazing Race Canada. Snotty Nose Res Kids just wore your jackets on their Dumb video with their other artists there. What's it like seeing your clothing out there and people are wearing it and are proud?
It's really cool. I mean, I remember when I first started, just wishing that people would wear our stuff in some of these places, and now it's people represent the brand all over, and you're seeing it out there. And it's cool because a lot of those people, when I first started, they were just starting out, and so we've kind of grown up in our careers together, and we always supported each other, and we continue to support each other. So it's really cool.
Finally, Justin, what is your message to other young Indigenous entrepreneurs out there who want to start but don't know where to start?
Oh man, I get this question a lot, and it's always I always feel like I forget things when I say this, but I think talk to people, find a mentor or somebody who's doing what you're doing, and ask questions. And I think a lot of us are so eager to help the next generation, and just don't be afraid to ask. And if you do it, set some goals. I always set goals, and that was something that kind of gave me these little milestones to work towards. And just take a chance on yourself. You never know what could happen. So
Justin Jacob Lewis, the founder of Section 35, will have to leave it there. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
That's your daytime newscast for this Monday. We're back again with your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hi miigwech masi chokwana. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again. Ekse.